What's good, YouTube? It's been a little while since I made a video. Just wanted to upload something real quick. I did pretty good with uploading videos last year every week. Been trying to upload different little tip videos as well, but I ended up running out of storage, so I just stopped recording videos. But I was able to, get some more storage and get a new camera, so I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent with it this year. But yeah, I wanted to just go ahead and upload something real quick. What I'm gonna do this year though, so it's the new year. It's actually January the 6th, 2021. But what I wanted to do this year is kind of like what I was doing last year, do a vlog episode basically every week. What I'll do in each week would be basically what I'm preparing to do for the garden going forward. So an example would be this first week, I'm just planning on taking inventory of what I got, looking at what the yard looks like and what plans I have for it going forward. And then what else I'm gonna do is look at the stuff I grew last year, how my harvest went and stuff, and then see what went well, what kind of things I can improve on and try to incorporate it this year's garden. So the goal of it really though is to really give a step-by-step, week-by-week guide or process on how to have a garden, how to plant things, how to harvest, little tips to make your harvest bigger, because you reap what you sow. So like a perfect example would be like if you wait till July to start planting seeds, then whenever you plant a seed, you'll of course you'll get some vegetables from it, but it won't be as much as you could possibly get. But if you're preparing for it in February or January and doing everything you can to kind of optimize your space and the nutrients that the seeds are going to get, then you'll reap more from it, so putting that extra work in will really help. But it's best to stay on a schedule and plan for it. So that's the purpose of these videos, to be able to give a step-by-step, week-by-week process of how to garden, basically what kind of things to try to avoid, what kind of mistakes to try to avoid, and then hopefully people will follow along. So if you're listening to this video and it sounds like something that you'd be interested in, definitely like it, share it, comment if you have any questions or if there's anything that you want me to go over. But basically this would be a time for anybody that needs a week-by-week process or kind of guide to stand by to be able to grow vegetables. This is what you should tune into. And then also I like to do landscaping as well. So what I'm gonna do is, after some trial and error over the last couple of years, I've been doing some work to the yard, but after some trial and error and really figuring out what works and what doesn't work, what kind of design I want, I plan on changing up the garden as much as possible too, or the landscaping as much as possible too. And I'm gonna document that every week as well. So I think by the end of the year, I should be able to have the garden and the yard set up exactly how I want it with the designs I want, and then have the garden efficient enough where I can continually grow food, be as sustainable as possible with it, and hopefully be self-sufficient just based off of the space that I got in the backyard. So with this episode, really all I'm gonna do is kind of like what I did last year. I did a little garden tour video, just kind of showing what I had in the garden, what things I'm planting, what things I'm currently growing, what things look like. I'm gonna go ahead and give a rundown of that, and then I'll upload some pictures for reference as well. Sorry if you can hear that, the car driving in the background. I live kind of close to a main road. That just tells you that you can do garden or any kind of high population area. It doesn't have to be a big farm or anything, but anyway, sorry for that if the sound was messed up. I'm working with this new camera too, but I'm kind of rambling. But like I said, I'm gonna just go ahead and give a tour of the garden, what I'm currently growing, take a couple pictures for reference, and then maybe just give a quick idea or a quick suggestion of what I might do. And then at the end of the video, I'll give a rundown or a wrap up of what next week's to-do list. That way, if you plan on gardening, you can follow along as well. And I'll try to stay at least a week ahead. That way, if you're tuning in late, you still should be able to catch up. So without further ado, I'm gonna just go ahead and turn the camera around, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and give a good probably 5 to 10 minute tour of the garden, just show what everything looks like. All right, so getting right into it, we're gonna start with the greenhouse. So it's really not much. It's really not much to look at in here. This is just a pot that's charcoal for the grill. These are a couple old pepper plants that I grew last year. I saw a video where they cut the leaves and the flowers off and then just kept the stem, and then they said it would overwinter and then grow the next year. I don't know if it'll work or not. I probably shouldn't have left it outside in the greenhouse. I think it's been scarred from the weather because it's pretty cold right now. But we're gonna see once it gets warmer. We'll see if the leaves start sprouting, if it'll grow. But that's just a bell pepper, jalapeno, and a habanero pepper, so we'll see. Strawberries that I grew last year. Earlier in the video, I said I'm gonna go over some of the things that went well and some of the things that didn't. But this will be considered one of the things that did not go well. So I didn't really have a good harvest with strawberry. I didn't actually harvest any good strawberries. So learning experience there. But should be able to figure it out. And this is just some extra garden supplies that I keep in the greenhouse. So I actually don't have pretty much anything in here right now. I got some lemon trees, but they're inside, and then I'll show those a little bit later. All right, so just taking it outside. And what I'll probably do too, and this greenhouse has kind of been through it, like it's ripped. And the zipper is really messed up. It still holds humidity, and it holds humidity and holds heat pretty well, but I'm gonna probably have to get a new covering for it because that's just not gonna do. Here, so these are some of the trees. So last year, I'll put a link in the description, but last year I showed some of the apple trees that I have been growing. Not all of them made it through the year, but I think the 3 that I have left are still pretty healthy. So this one, you can see the leaves are, you know, pretty much falling off. It's winter. It's in the like 30s, like 20s to 40s pretty much every day consistently right now. So it's not having any kind of production right now. And this is another one of the apple trees. So you can see this one kind of just been growing straight up. So probably about, I'll say probably about 7 feet, 8 feet up in the air. And this one is about, I don't know, about probably about 5.5 feet in the air. So both of those looking pretty healthy so far. This is just the extra compost bin that I started maybe like 2 weeks ago. I got another bucket of compost, but I think I'm gonna need more, so I just started this with like an old 13-gallon trash can, plastic trash can. What I need to do though is drill some holes in the bottom, just for some airflow, so it doesn't get you know, rancid in there, and the water doesn't build up or anything. But I'll probably just drill some holes in there probably this weekend. It's no big rush. All right, getting into the yard. I'll start with this path. So with this path, this is just like square cement blocks that I got from Lowe's. They were like $1.50 a piece. I just wanted to make like a little trail to the garden because the grass I have is fescue, so it doesn't really like to be walked on a whole lot. Then I wanted kind of like a modern look as well. So I just kind of threw them in a spot. I didn't really do a lot of leveling and making sure that they were straight. Like you can probably see how crooked they are. They're relatively straight, but they're still kind of crooked. But I just wanted to kind of get a baseline of like what I wanted to do with it. So I'll probably expand on this. All the tiles are just fine, but I'll probably expand on this, make sure it's actually level and completely straight. And then I might put some gravel around it as well. But I just want to keep it as natural as possible, but still have a nice like real like geometric and like real kind of minimalist and modern type feel to it. So that was my idea with those. Going into the garden box or the garden bed, nothing growing in here right now. I mean, you can see a couple like banana peels. I've been kind of throwing compost in here. I haven't really added too many nutrients or anything. That's going to be on my agenda over the next couple weeks. But right now it's pretty much just been sitting here. It's been freezing. It's been getting rained in. I really just been kind of just letting it go, to be honest. And here is another little bucket of compost. And then this is the other garden bed right here. So this is in the back. This is the one I built last year. So I didn't record whenever I first built that one, but I built this one 2 years ago, and then I built this one last year. I'll drop a video I'll drop the link in the description of the video where I show how to put this together as well. But it's pretty simple. But same way with this one, it's a couple weeds in there. I think some of these weeds actually add nitrogen to the soil. I didn't know that at first, and I actually been kind of pulling the weeds out. So once I found that out, I just been kind of letting it go, letting some of the weeds grow, because I think it does help with adding nitrogen to the soil. So that's another learning experience for myself. So hopefully you guys don't make that mistake. This is just some of the tools that I got. These are some of the cages, tomato cages. I use them for cucumbers, anything that grows straight up, peppers and whatnot. So I can kind of keep reincorporating those and using them as long as possible. These are just some couple extra pots. I think it's like 2 or 3 pots under these, but it's not really much to see there. Just regular plastic pots where I like to start and grow vegetables all the way from seed to like harvesting those as well too. So like I was mentioning earlier too, the yard. So the yard is fescue. The grass is fescue. What I noticed about my yard is it has a few uneven spots. So you can see like right here, right here, and what happens is like those uneven spots, they puddle up real bad, so they really like drown they drown the grass. So I'm gonna fix that hopefully. It'll take probably a little while to fix it, just because it takes a while for like sand and sediment to settle. So it'll take probably a couple years before it's completely level, but I plan on trying to start leveling that out this year as well. For the grass, fescue is a cool season grass, so it pretty much stays green all year round. The downside of it is whenever it's warm outside, so like during the hot summer months, especially whenever you don't get a lot of rain, you have to consistently water it, because if you don't, the sun will pretty much kill it within a matter of days. But what I'll do is, whenever the temperatures start to warm up just a little bit, I'm gonna try to time it as good as possible, or as right as possible. What I'll do is go over how you can overseed your yard, replant seeds, how you can trim around the edges to make it as clean as possible, and then just weekly and monthly maintenance things that you can do to keep your yard looking as nice as possible. My dad taught me a lot of yard work when I was younger. I mean, his yard looks flawless. Like, if you go to his house, like, you probably not gonna see any weeds. We used to have to pull weeds at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'll give tips on how to, keep your garden nice, so you don't have to do that every day. So the fence is in pretty good condition. It was here when I bought the house a couple years ago. It's been just fine. The only thing that was replaced was like the front door of the fence, but everything else is pretty much in good shape. But it does have like just a regular wooden fence feel, and I like that. There's no problem with that at all. It does what it needs to do. It's a good privacy fence, but I really like modern type style like design, and I really like Japanese and modern type mix. So that's going to kind of be my my inspiration on how the yard is going to change. But I plan on changing the fence. I don't know for sure how I'm gonna do it yet, but I was thinking just doing horizontal planks instead of vertical planks, and then instead of the regular wooden post, having a black post. So we'll see kind of how that looks on paper, and then what the cost of that will be. But that's my plan on trying to change the fence, and I think it'll kind of bring a whole different feel to the backyard. Yeah, other than that, there's not really anything else in the backyard. Oh, actually there is, my fault. So speaking of the apple trees, so last year I actually planted one of them in the ground. So like you can see, it's been in the ground for a little while. It's pretty sturdy. It's been through a couple seasons already. I think I actually planted it in the ground in August, but it's looking pretty good so far. Same way with the other seeds or the other trees. No real production, no green leaves or anything right now. They're pretty much all falling off, but overall it looks pretty healthy. It's standing it's probably about 5 feet tall right now out of the ground. So I'm gonna give tips on probably how to keep that as healthy as possible too. I'm really excited about that though, because in a couple years gonna be able to have a whole lot of apples. And then actually the other last thing that I wanted to show in the backyard is this tree right here. So this tree is called or a bush. I guess it's technically a bush, not a tree. It's just tall, and I'm actually trim it up over the next couple weeks too. But it's called a Rose of Sharon. So I don't know everything about it. What I do know about it is it flowers a whole lot, and when you have flowers, you have pollinators, and when you have pollinators, you get more vegetables. So pollinators are like bees, yellow jackets, any kind of bug that like goes from flower to flower and they carry the pollen with them. Those are pollinators. So having something like this in your garden, you can plant flowers that'll attract them. But having something like this in your garden is a huge help. And me planting my stuff here, when I first originally planted this one, I planted it because the sun hit. I waited a couple days and just kind of like observed like which direction the sun was going, but the sun hit this area the most. So I figured this would be the best place to put a garden box. And then after growing it in here, the first year, I noticed that the sun pretty much just batters this spot right here. So it gets probably about 12 to 14 hours of sunlight during the real like high summer months. And some plants don't really do well with only sunlight. So then that's what made me plant this garden box back here. I felt like it was still a good place where it got a whole lot of sun, so you can still grow good summer plants in it. but it's shaded in the afternoon, especially like on the hot summer days. So this is where you can grow a lot of kale, and that's like where I grew my kale at, and my kale did really well. But growing stuff like that, you can grow cool season and summer plants kind of in this type of box like this, since it's a little bit shaded. And then by doing that, it really just turned out being good that it was right in between the rows of sharing plant, because the pollinators were pretty much going back and forth from box to box, really helping me out last year. The only thing about last year is I think I was a little bit over ambitious and planted too many things and planned, but I didn't plan accordingly. I planned too much, or I was over ambitious. But what I plan on doing this year, and I feel like it'll be enough to really be sustainable for a while, and I'll probably still add little things here and there forever, honestly, but what I plan on doing this year is adding another size garden box right here, and I'm gonna probably do it the same exact way. These garden boxes should stay good for a couple more years. They're not treated, so they don't have to worry about the soil having any kind of like chemicals in it. So I'm gonna make one more. I'm gonna build one more and put it right there, the same exact size, but I'm gonna bring it this way instead, so it's not taking up too much room like over here. But I'll plant it right, or I'll build it right here, and it'll probably run into those first couple steps right there. So that's pretty much it for the backyard. All right, so we're getting into the front yard now. I mean, it's not really too much to go over in the front yard. I just kind of look over the landscaping aspects of it, and it's starting to get a little darker in the afternoon, so excuse me if the lighting is not the best. But yeah, this is just right here on the side of the house by the front. This is the fence that goes into the backyard, but this is just the side of the house, but I consider it the front yard just because it's not the back. Same kind of grass here, it's fescue. It's a little patchy right now, but overall it looks pretty decent. And then this is just kind of going into the actual front part of the yard. So this is just a privacy fence that covers, it's like a little gully right here. Pretty just makes it safe, like the city, I had to approve it, but the city just came in and put this fence right here just to kind of keep it as safe as possible. But this is going into the front yard right here. And then I'll go from the other direction as well, but this is just a look from the side of the house into some of the landscaping. So this is kind of like the front porch, so going straight into the landscaping. This is what I probably would change a little bit. I think what I'm gonna do is just the shape of the hedges. I've been letting those burgundy ones, I've been shaping them up over the last year, but I've been letting them get as tall as possible. But I'm gonna try to get those off, get those squared off as sharp as possible to make it look real clean. And then for the ones on the bottom, I'm gonna try to get them as round as possible, like just to get them as circular as possible, like the ones on the left. For the mulch, it's black mulch. I'll probably just get the weeds out, redo that a little bit, just clean it up, touch it up some, make it look real clean. And then this is going into the rest of the front yard. Not really much there. I don't plan on putting a whole lot. I like my front yard to be kind of like, not blank, it should just be, I don't know, you should just be able to, it shouldn't be just too much going on, in my opinion. That's kind of how I like it. So it's really simple. That's a Japanese maple right there. No leaves on it since it's the winter, but it'll look real good once the springtime comes, spring and the summertime. But yeah, this is just like the front yard. Like I said, not really much there. I'm gonna do the same thing in the back, like overseed it. This is just some leaves from trees that's fallen. I haven't really raked it in the last couple days, but just a regular looking yard. And then flipping over to the other side, this is my cutoff for the other side of my front yard. So it looks pretty much the same. Just got some leaves from this tree. I think it's like a Bradford pear tree, I believe. But yeah, just regular fescue grass. And then getting all the way around here too. So this side of the house gets real shaded. So I mean, the grass, it helps the grass grow a lot thicker, so it looks pretty good over on this side. But the only bad thing is where this exhaust comes out right here, or where this gets outlet pipe or whatever, the water continually runs. So I think I'm gonna put some mulch around here just to make it look clean, because the grass just has a real hard time growing right here wherever the water kind of puddles up. So it's a little bit of a drainage problem, but I'm gonna try to fix that. And then this is just the other side of the AC unit. Is full with a lot of like clovers and stuff, so I'll get all those up over the next couple weeks too. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the front yard from a like a walkthrough perspective. yeah, I don't really have too much else to really kind of go over in the front yard. So all right, last we got the citrus trees, so it's a mix of lemon and orange trees. So I got them all inside. They pretty much just sitting here in the kitchen. They actually need to be watered some. The soil looks pretty dry, and I don't know what's going on with this one. I gotta figure it out, but I can see some new growth, so I think the tree is still alive. Like you can see it right there. But some kind of disease got a hold of this, or fungus got a hold of this, so I gotta figure that out. But yeah, I brought them all inside. I still have 10 left. I gave away a couple, and a couple of them died, but I got 10 left still. All of them looking pretty healthy. You can see the leaves, and then you can really, I won't focus, but you can really, once you get close to them and pull the leaf and pull them apart, or like one falls off, if you smell it, you can smell the like citrus like flavors that's coming off of it, or the citrus scents that's coming off of it. But yeah, I had to bring them inside because citrus trees, they start to sustain damage to the roots at 29 degrees and below. And in North Carolina, the weather can get below that pretty frequently in the winter time. So I went ahead and just brought them inside, but I'll put them back outside in the springtime, or if I get a better greenhouse. But yeah, this is pretty much all I'm growing right now. Nothing outside really, and then just letting these lemon trees do what they do. It's winter time, so they're not gonna really see a whole lot of growth anyway. Like you can see some new growth right here just from the temperatures being warm inside, and then still being able to get a little bit of sunlight from the backyard. But other than that, I'm not having to do too much with them right now. So that pretty much wraps up what I'm growing right now. Next week, or next week I'll be focusing on what kind of things I'm gonna do to prepare to make sure that like everything grows efficiently the rest of the year. So make sure like the lemon trees do well, the apple trees that are outside. Kind of do an inventory of what kind of tools and what kind of supplies that I still have, like for the garden and whatnot. And I'll do like short little clips of how you can prepare as well to go ahead and get ready for the gardening season. So this pretty much wraps up the video. Like the video, comment, share the video. Make sure you're letting all your friends know about DJ growing these lemon trees here. So if you're still watching, I really appreciate you tuning in. And if you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Each episode going forward won't be this long, but I really wanted to give a good description of what to expect this season. And here we just have slideshow of different pictures of different angles of the backyard and front yard, just so we're able to track progress of the development throughout the growing season. And next up, I have a list of things that you can do to prepare for next episode, as these will be the topics that I'm going to discuss next week in episode 2. But until next time, guys, peace.